Hi! Another adventure of sewing scraps with Linda. This time I have a lot of strips that I am trying to use up. And I thought I would try my 60-degree ruler. I borrowed one from a friend a while ago and liked it a lot, and I bought a ruler. And this one is 60 degrees, and it has, it's 12.5 inches, or 12 inches all the way from top to bottom, and it's nice. So one thing that you could do with these things is use some painter's tape to make some markings on there so that when you want to cut something, let's say this square, you want to make a triangle out of it, all I really have to do is put the edge of the fabric on so that both sides come to the sides here, and that the center is straight up and down in the middle. And then all I have to do is just put that down to the masking tape, the painter's tape, and then trim both sides off to make an equilateral triangle that is smaller than the whole size of the ruler. And if I want to make multiples, it's so much faster if I have a piece of painter's tape there to measure them out. And I can cut a number at one time if I want to. So I have been using my new ruler, and I have in my squares bin all kinds of multiples of the same color. So I've got some nice turquoisey blue ones, some purpley ones, some darker blue turquoise, some gold, some red, and so on down the row, so that I've got lots and lots of squares in my square bins that I can use and cut multiples. So because this is an equilateral triangle, it makes really nice hexagons. And so on the wall behind me, you can see what I am making. Now I have an abundance of strips. One of the things that I do when I get a bunch of fabric or somebody gives me fabric is I usually cut a 2.5-inch strip or two 2.5-inch strips, the width of the fabric, and I keep them in a bin. And sometimes my bin gets filled up with those 2.5-inch strips. But there's a variety of colors and patterns, which is what I really like. So when my 2.5-inch bin strip bin gets full, I can make something like what you see on the wall very quickly. So the first thing I do is to cut a small triangle. Then I go through my strip bin and on 3 sides sew a strip that is an equal width It doesn't have to be 2 inches. It doesn't have to be 2.5. It doesn't have to be 3. It just has to be even all the way around. And then I go to the next step, which is to sew another strip on the outside of that. Now I found in my example on the wall that the outside strip has to be at least the width of fabric, 42 to 45 inches, depending on how wide the previous strip measures in width. But generally, the one that goes around the outside, to make a 12.5 inch full size, the outer one has to be about 2.5 inches. And so when I measure them, my inside triangles are all the same. I'm cutting those all in the same size. But the two parts that go around it are not necessarily the same size. So that's one thing. But as long as the outside is going to measure the same, it will sew together fine. Now, one of the things I've looked at as I've been building this is I have been keeping the colorways sort of similar. So up here I've got a turquoisey color in the center. Over here I've got a peach in the center of that one. Here I've got more of a purpley color here. And right here, I'm working on a green color. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them that way. Maybe I'll switch them all up afterwards and rearrange them so that each one of those parts in the hexagon are a different color. So I have 6 different colors in the center. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Right now, I'm just making the triangles, using up the pieces of fabric that I have, and seeing where it goes. I must admit, when I look at it on the wall, I kind of like the ones that are a bit more dramatic. That is, these at the top have more either a dark value right beside the inner triangle or on the outside of the triangle. I think I like those better than this one here, where they're all similar values. So probably I will switch them up before I'm done and sew them together. I really like making these triangles. You can use so many different things, so many different ways of making quilts that use these triangles. Right now, I'm just cutting a triangle, bordering the triangle, and bordering the triangle. But if you make a triangle here, and then make a strip here, and a strip here, and you put those all together, you get a big hexagon, and that really looks sharp. And that makes a really nice quilt, especially if you have a lot of one-way designs or graphic things like, elephants in a row or something like that. It makes a really, really nice, you can see them all marching around to the outside of the quilt. So it's really quite nice. But there's lots of things you can do with these triangles. And when I sew them together, I will sew a row down this way, because then all I have to do is sew across here, sew across here, sew across here, and they're all just straight line stitching. And when I get a row down here, then I can just sew the seams together here, and the seams together here, and the seams together here. And I can make this as big as I want to. And all I have to do is take one of these squares like this, and I could cut it in half, and those two halves could go up here in this space, and this half here could go up into that space and fill it in to make it a rectangle, to make it into a big quilt. But it uses up lots of a variety of fabrics, and you can do them in colorways if you have the scraps or the fabric to do that. I just really like all over patterns and all over designs, and anything goes. So I'm having fun playing with my scraps. And my process is really wild and crazy. You see here, I have over here a big pile of strips on my desk. Down on the floor, down here, I have smaller pieces. If I run out of something, I can piece it. And then over here, I have on the floor my other bin, so I can just reach down from my sewing machine here and pick up something and just sew it right into the seam. So, I mean, my process is haphazard. Pick something up, sew it in, see if it works, and if it doesn't work, it scraps, so I don't have to use it if I don't want to. I can take it apart, I can make something else. But I like a variety of colors and a variety of patterns. So I'm having fun making this new quilt. So I hope you have enjoyed my little video. Tell your friends if you like us. I guess I'm trying to become more savvy here. But anyway, if you like it, tell me you like it, I guess. Thanks for watching.